The P-47 Thunderbolt, How America's Fleeing Milk Bottle Destroyed the Luftwaffe. Opening, April 8, 1943. 27,000 feet above Caen, France. German Oberleutnant Ralph Hermikin couldn't help but smile as he watched the ungainly silhouettes climbing toward his formation. Through the crystal-clear canopy of his Focke-Wulf 190, he keyed his radio to his wingman. "The Americans have sent us flying milk bottles." Below, 16 P-47C Thunderbolts from the 4th Fighter Group struggled upward, their 2,000-horsepower engines straining against 7 tons of aircraft. To German eyes accustomed to sleek Spitfires and nimble Soviet fighters, these corpulent American machines looked almost comical. Barrel-shaped fuselages, greenhouse canopies, wings that seemed too small, and massive propellers that dwarfed anything in the Luftwaffe inventory. What Hermikin didn't know, what none of those circling German pilots could have imagined, was that they were witnessing the arrival of the weapon that would systematically destroy the Luftwaffe's fighter arm. Within 18 months, these flying milk bottles would transform from objects of ridicule into instruments of terror. The design philosophy. The Republic II, I-47. Thunderbolt emerged from a moment of panic in June 1940. As German fighters swept across France, Alexander Kartveli, Republic Aviation's Georgian-born chief designer, received urgent specifications from the U.S. Army Air Corps. They wanted a high-altitude interceptor capable of matching the Luftwaffe's best. What Kartveli designed was something entirely different, a monster that redefined what was possible. "It will be a dinosaur," Kartveli admitted to his design team, "but it will be a dinosaur with good proportions." The prototype that first flew on May 6, 1941, shocked everyone. At 9,900 pounds empty, it weighed 65% more than its predecessor. The massive turbo-supercharger system gave it an almost pregnant appearance. Test pilots invariably asked the same question: "This thing actually flies?" Not only did it fly, it flew like nothing else at altitude. The Pratt & Whitney R-2800 Double Wasp, an 18-cylinder radial producing 2,000 horsepower, could maintain full power at 27,000 feet, where German fighters gasped for air. The turbo supercharger delivered sea-level performance in the stratosphere. Deadly training. Major Hubert Zemke, commanding the 56th Fighter Group, initially despised the aircraft. Between September 1942 and January 1943, his unit lost 18 pilots and 41 aircraft in training accidents. The P-47 killed more Americans in training than Germans would in the first months of combat. It ground-looped on landing, torque-rolled on takeoff, and dove with such enthusiasm that pilots discovered compressibility, their controls freezing as shock waves formed on the wings. But those who mastered it discovered something extraordinary. Lieutenant Robert Johnson, who would become one of America's top aces, described his first flight. "It was like strapping yourself to a locomotive. The power was unbelievable. You didn't fly it, you aimed it." First Blood. The first combat encounters in April and May 1943 confirmed every German prejudice. The P-47s couldn't turn with the Focke-Wulfs, couldn't climb with the Messerschmitts, couldn't match their nimble handling at medium altitudes. Hauptmann Josef Pips Priller, commanding Jagdgeschwader 26, reported to headquarters after his first encounter. "The new American fighter is meat for the slaughter. It flies like a truck, turns like a freight train, and climbs like a pregnant cow." The statistics seemed to confirm German confidence. In their first month, American fighter groups lost 14 Thunderbolts, for only 3 confirmed kills. British pilots joked that the best evasive maneuver in a P-47 was to unstrap and run around the roomy cockpit. But something strange was happening that German intelligence failed to notice. The P-47s that were shot down had absorbed incredible punishment before falling. One aircraft returned with 21 cannon holes and over 100 machine gun strikes, damage that would have disintegrated a Messerschmitt or Spitfire. And when P-47s got their guns on target, the results were catastrophic. The Johnson Incident, the event that would begin changing German perceptions, occurred on June 26, 1943, over Laval, France. Second Lieutenant Robert Johnson's formation was returning from escort duty when they were bounced by 16 Focke-Wulf 190s. Johnson's Thunderbolt, flying at the rear, was caught in crossfire. 21 20-millimeter cannon shells exploded across his aircraft. The canopy shattered, hydraulic fluid sprayed everywhere, the engine cowling tore away, and fire erupted behind the instrument panel. Johnson, wounded in the nose and leg, tried to bail out, but the canopy was jammed. A cannon shell had welded it.